Tansen etute magtiar Wheatley nisigasun o Pasquaguche. Tawau, welcome to APTN National News. The Carney government submitted its multi-billion-dollar plan for long-term reform of the First Nations Child and Family Services Program to the Canadian Human Rights Tribunal on Monday. The government's plan commits $35.5 billion to long-term reform to the end of 2034. It also says it will provide an ongoing commitment of $4.4 billion annually after that time period to ensure First Nations children and families have sustainable resources. At an Assembly of First Nations meeting in October 2024, chiefs rejected a proposed $47.8 billion agreement on long-term reform put forward by the Trudeau government, saying it had been reached without enough consultation with First Nations. At a press conference in Ottawa on Monday, Galmasti said the two agreements contain the same financial commitment from the government.
Commitment that was put forward is one that we continue to maintain. The matrix of evaluation is now on 7 years, with the remaining balance of those funds to be at $35.5 billion. We have continued to fund the actual costs of child and family services from the time of the initial deposit of that commitment. So there is ongoing use of these amounts to ensure that we are able to support First Nations.
The First Nations Child and Family Caring Society and the Assembly of First Nations have also submitted their plan to the Canadian Human Rights Tribunal, dubbed the Loving Justice National Plan. We'll hear more about this from Cindy Blackstock of the Caring Society tomorrow. For more on the proposal submitted today by the federal government, we're joined by the Minister of Indigenous Services, Mandy Galmasti. Minister Galmasti, thanks for joining us today. Let's start with the federal government offer of $47.8 billion in 2024 for long-term reform of First Nations Child and Family Services. By APTN's calculation, this plan is more than $10 billion less than that. Why is that?
As you can see, we have continued with our funding agreement. The original plan that was in place and offered in the first round on long-term reform is one that we have actually continued to fund the delivery of programs and services. So the balance in the amount is $35.5 billion. What we have added onto this plan, and what I'm really excited to announce, is we have responded to the requests of First Nations leadership and what they were looking for in the previous plan. Two things. One, their inclusion in regional decision making. Two, long-term funding commitment at $4.4 billion annually after the 10-year period. We've also reflected in our calculation an adjustment to include inflation, and the growth factors of communities, because we know that they're a rapidly growing population. We wanted to be sure that the tools and the services that we're offering as part of the funding process is going to meet their needs. In addition, we are looking to ensure that our new process is going to address the flexibility needed to allocate that funding, so First Nations can make decisions for themselves.
Mm-hmm. And this plan, though, it does not include the National Children's Chief Commission, which was elected by the Chiefs in Assembly in 2024 to work with the government to come up with a deal on long-term reform. I guess, why is this the case?
What we've done in our approach is we've taken the extensive work that's been done already, a lot of research, evidence-led, everything that is reflected in the original long-term reform final agreement, in addition to what we've learned in the process that we've engaged in with the Chiefs of Ontario and Anishinaabe Nation, and we've really amalgamated those two things and created a process where we are inviting community to participate in a new approach that is regionally driven, where they're able to define what their agreement would look like in terms of service and delivery. And we are also respecting the work that's undertaken as part of the national framework. So if communities wish to participate in a regional agreement, that door is open to them. But we're also looking to work with the National Children's Chiefs Commission, the Caring Society, the Assembly of First Nations, because we know that communities have different needs across the country. We're trying to create as many tools and supports as possible for them to take the pathway that they choose.
Mm-hmm. And I guess, can you give us more details of what this plan entails? You talked about it a little bit there, but what is the timeline for the government to be meeting with the various regions? And if not the Children's Chief Commission, who will the government be meeting with from each of the regions.
Thank you. I've had the opportunity to really do a very thorough analysis since I became minister. One of the things that was clear to me is that certain regions had expressed their desire to move forward on their own independent pathway. It's my objective as a minister to respect their authority as rights holders, to define what it is they wish to see in terms of long-term reform for their children. It's also my objective as a minister to continue remaining open and engaging with everybody who is part of the tribunal process. I had the opportunity to meet with the National Children's Chiefs Commission chair. I've met with the portfolio holders, the previous one and the new one at the Assembly of First Nations. I had the opportunity to meet with the Caring Society, Dr. Blackstock. I expressed my intentions in all of those sessions to speak to the regional approach that's part of a national framework, with the context being that we want to ensure that the plans moving forward are defined by and driven and determined according to the needs of First Nations communities. How this approach is different is that we are empowering the communities to determine governance. We are also working with them in a new reporting mechanism where they can define indicators of success, what kind of outcomes they're looking to achieve. We've committed to long-term ongoing funding, which is a huge part of the ask in the last agreement negotiation. And we have also looked at, what kind of flexibility do we need to incorporate when we're doing evaluation? And it's a multiple stage evaluation, so you always have the opportunity to refine what it is that you're seeking to attain as an objective. And, like I said, since the beginning, I'm here and open to work with those who want to work with us. We have a mandate to fulfill. Every day that we continue, in this process is another day that a child is in care in a system that is not defined according to their culture, their identity, supported by their community. We have a mandate to fulfill. We have to meet that in a timely way. I want to be sure that communities know that I'm here to meet them with the urgency that is necessitated in this case, that I'm also here to make sure that I'm working with you so that you can determine that next step moving forward for what your nation's needs are.
And you mentioned multiple stages and timelines. I guess when will you have an agreement in place with all the regions?
Sure. I have already received multiple band council resolutions, letters of interest, communications from community that want to have exploratory discussions. I intend to engage with them in the beginning of the new year to see what that looks like. What does the format look like? Working with them to define a collaborative process and moving forward, what their needs are going to be. I really believe that giving space and ensuring that you're working with in a supporting manner what First Nations are trying to do is something that should be driven by them. I'm a partner in this process. I'm there to respect rights holders. I also have, the openness to see what does a regional agreement look like. Is it from a First Nations regional positioning? Is it multiple regional agreements per province? It really depends on how they want to organize themselves. I'm also ensuring that in our process, we are looking to engage at the provincial level what their role is going to be in this process, because we know that every relationship with First Nations differs from province to province. Their needs differ from province to province. When they are defining their care in community, wraparound services in community, when they are also leaving community to seek additional supports within the provincial healthcare system, that we are incorporating that as part of our work. So I'm encouraged by this, and I think that this is something that the Prime Minister has really defined and showcased as a strong relationship at the provincial government level, and I do think that he is, going to look to this as one of the agenda items in the upcoming First Ministers meeting.
We'll have to end it there, Minister Galmasti, but thanks again for joining us today.
Thank you, Miigwech.
A longtime 2S LGBTQ+ activist in Alberta says she was denied her claim from Indian day schools due to documents being sent too late. APTN's Chris Stewart has the details.
Chevy Rabbit has a large presence in the LGBTQ+ community in Alberta. For over a decade, she has raised awareness of important issues with her Walk a Mile in a Ribbon Skirt and Hate to Hope rallies. Like many others, she suffered as a child in the Indian day schools. In 2019, the federal government announced a settlement for survivors, paying a minimum of $10,000. Chevy says she applied to Deloitte, the multinational corporation handling the settlement, and was told her narrative was missing, which is where you describe the traumatic events that affected you.
I had some stuff that happened to me while I was going to school there, and I had to go to the teacher to go get facts on it, the fact that something happened to me while I was there, and I had to remember all of that, which I found very frustrating.
She enlisted the help of Dorothy Simon, who says she has helped 1,500 people work on their day school and day scholar claims.
And I even confirmed the resubmissions on her. I told her I'd track. I saved copies of all of the files and whatever, and especially the emails, and it clearly indicates that the documents were sent on time.
And complete.
And complete.
And now they're sending me back an email saying I'm declined for even the $10,000 because I applied for $100,000, and everybody I know was approved for $100,000, and it's just me that didn't get anything.
Simon says everything was done properly, and Rabbit deserves her settlement, which she says should be more than $10,000. The date for last submission of incomplete forms was in June of 2025, after extensions. Simon provided APTN with an email showing the email was sent on January 10th of 2024, which included the trauma Chevy experienced.
As far as this issue is concerned, she complied with the requirements of Deloitte, and she filed everything on time, and then we can probably prove it. And as far as Deloitte is concerned, I don't see the reason why they should have denied them.
Rabbit says this decision is not in the spirit of reconciliation.
If you can't work with me, it says, what does it say about the company if you can't work with somebody who clearly is a progressive advocate fighting for Indigenous rights, and they claim to be a progressive company that's working with Indigenous folks? Well, why can't you work with me when I've given you all of the details, because I've given them everything they need?
Deloitte has not responded to our requests for comment on this matter. Chris Stewart, APTN National News, Edmonton.
Ginanaskamitin, Chris, and we take you to the underground gym in Thunder Bay right after this quick break. Cheskwa. Come on in, Pete Tigwe. For nearly 30 years, the Underground Gym and Youth Center has served underprivileged youth in Thunder Bay. Though not by design, the gym has found itself to be a gathering place for local First Nations children and youth. The gym's founder says the center could not function without community support. APTN's Mike McDonald reports.
Among the many donations made to the underground gym over the years is a school bus, which gym founder Peter Panetta uses to pick up the kids from their homes. The children decided on a color scheme and even gave it a nickname, the Cool Bus. Panetta says the underground has been able to stay open thanks to a caring community that has been supporting it for nearly 3 decades.
Community support. It's really that simple. Donations. People definitely care about the children, and every time there's a downslide and I put in a request, then it comes back up again. So it's been like that for 27 years.
On this day, the children are making their own gingerbread houses, with materials and supervision provided by volunteers. Panetta is something of a grandfather figure in this environment, offering his support wherever it's needed.
I buzz around supervising. I give them piggyback rides. I tie rollerblades so they can go rollerblading. I just basically, I give hugs if they need a hug. And I access different things for them. Play. Sometimes I shoot hoops with them. And I coach. Yeah.
Though his energy level may suggest otherwise, Panetta will soon turn 76 years old. While he has had some health setbacks, he continues with the day-to-day operation of the gym, as it has become an integral part of his life.
I honestly believe that they're the ones that are keeping me healthy and alive. Being involved with the children in so many factors that I don't know. I sometimes think to myself, you know what? You only got a few years left. Really, go enjoy yourself. once I'm away from those children for even a week or two, I have to be back with them. Like, it's just, they're in my heart. But I will admit, I am exhausted when I get home. When I get home around 8:30 at night, that's it. I have a little snack and I'm crashed. I'm done.
No trouble sleeping then?
Oh, no, not at all. Not at all.
Parents assist with the upkeep of the underground. They say it provides children with opportunities they otherwise couldn't access through other means.
I think it gives a lot actually, because there's like a lot of kids that they benefit from it. Like, they get boxing, arts and crafts, gymnastics, swimming, horseback riding, things like that.
Peter's just an amazing all-around guy, and what he does is just, I can't thank him enough. I help out with the food and cooking where I can and doing what I can with him, and the kids just, they do look at him as like a Mashomas, and he is a great man to be around.
In order for the underground to continue offering its programs free of charge, they are putting the call out for donations. Information can be found on their website, undergroundgym.ca. Mike McDonald, APTN National News, Thunder Bay.
Ginanaskamitin Mike, an elder, an educator, a pillar in traditional knowledge and language, a friend and auntie. Those are just a few words that describe Elder Shirley Williams-Baugh, who passed away last week. People across the country are mourning the loss. Williams-Baugh was a residential school survivor and a member of Wikwemikong First Nation on Manitoulin Island. She has had a lifetime of accomplishments, including Professor Emeritus at Trent University, water walker, and Anishinaabe translator. Her kindness and passion of advocating for the water and teaching the Anishinaabe language will forever be remembered by many. From all of us at APTN, we send condolences to her many family members, community, and friends. Bamapi Shirley Baugh, travel well. Time now for one more break here. When we come back, we tell you about a fundraiser in Ontario meant to help some folks in Jamaica. Yaman, Jeskwa. Tawau, welcome back. Time now for our photo of the day. Melanie Beardy shared this unreal photo of the Northern Lights dancing over the snowy landscape in northern Manitoba. Thank you for sharing this view with us, Melanie. Send your pictures to share at aptn.ca for the chance to be our next photo of the day. Now let's take a look at tomorrow's weather forecast. Starting on the East Coast, Charlottetown -6, Halifax -5. Over to Kuujjuaq, -16, Nain, -19. Saguenay is -7, while Quebec City is -5. North Bay +1, Sault Ste. Marie also +1. Big Trout Lake -15, Kapuskasing -4. Over to Manitoba, Churchill -26, Puckatawagan -19 rather. Barons River -18, Gimli -16. North Battleford -12, Regina -6. Uranium City -24, Buffalo Narrows -20. Moving west, High Level -27, Grand Prairie -23. Edmonton -16, Lethbridge 6 degrees. Bella Coola -5, Vancouver +5. Dease Lake -29, Prince Rupert -4. Rock River is -23, Dawson -44. Norman Wells -25, Fort Simpson -23. Tuktoyaktuk is -16 and Nuvik -21. Cambridge Bay also -21, Baker Lake -22. Over to Resolute -26 and Igloolik is -21. I was testing you folks up in Puckatawagan. You wish it was +19. In Winnipeg, Manitoba, a local theater is teaming up with the bookstore McNally Robinson and the Northwest Company to organize a book drive for kids up north. Prairie Theatre Exchange is currently putting on their Munch Upon a Time holiday show, a play adapted from Robert Munch books. Julia Ross spoke with Director of Development of the theater.
Karn Johnston says the Prairie Theatre Exchange was the first place to adapt Robert Munsch books into onstage performances, with the tradition of holiday Munsch plays starting in 1986. This year, he has teamed up with the Northwest Company to take books up north.
We have two ways for people, if they want to make a donation of books, whether they're Robert Munsch or other books. They can drop them off when they come to see a show here at Prairie Theatre Exchange during the run of Munch Upon a Time, which goes until the 3rd of January. Or they can go to McNally Robinson's, which has been a great partner for us, and they can buy the books there and drop them off. And they've even made a top 20 list of books that people can consider to give if they don't already have a favorite children's book to give.
Robert Munsch is a Canadian author retiring due to dementia and Parkinson's diagnosis and has been approved for medical assistance in dying. Munch Upon a Time returns to the Prairie Theatre Exchange after a 5-year break, but this time there will not be a Manitoba tour.
Normally we would do a tour to the north, but we're not doing it this time. And so I want to make sure that we still had some outreach into the communities up north, as well as, with all the fires and different things that have happened recently. It's just nice to bring a little bit of joy to the north and a love of reading and love of theater.
Northie from the Northwest Company came to visit the book drive and even donated books himself. Julia Ross, APTN National News, Winnipeg.
Tapawagi Julia. A benefit concert to help support victims in the Jamaican community of St. Elizabeth was held in Deseronto, Ontario over the weekend. The area is still recovering from the devastation that Hurricane Melissa left behind in October. Over 20 musicians joined together pro bono for a full day of music, food, and a silent auction. They're pooling their talents and generosity to help a small area in Jamaica that remains without power. Tyendinaga musician David R. Miracle and wife Kimberly came up with the plan. The funds raised will go to support women and children before the new year.
We wanted to just be able to do this freely with our hearts, and this is a very small part of Jamaica that has been ravaged by the hurricane. So we wanted to try and take care of the children and the women at the shelter where they were performing in Jamaica in August.
We're not trying to save Jamaica, but we're trying to help out a small community from one small community to the other.
So, and there's the Maroon people, the indigenous Maroon people that will be also helped that are in that area where they were in August touring.
Big up yourself, Kimberly and David. Enough respect. That's a little bit of Jamaican patois for ya. Here's a tidbit. My last name comes from Jamaica. To my family down in the yard, me soon come. And that's your APTN National News for this Monday, December 22nd. I'm TR Wheatley. It's been a pleasure to be here with you. Join us again tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern for your first look at news here on APTN. Until then, from all of us at APTN to all of you, Agase, Kitam, Kikawapa Mitinanaw.